kind of where we're seeing sort of the
Yeah.
whole health industry go it's not, I'm in control of your health and I tell you what to do. It's no, let me educate and empower you and help guide you to it. So
Mhm.
with your first book, Ketotarian, and then second book was Inflammation Spectrum. And I love how you break down the diet so simply of how to navigate, what foods might be really pro-inflammatory, and obviously inflammation kind of being the big driver. But I'd love to, as we kind of dive into the subject of fasting, of, why fasting? Why did you feel compelled to write an entire book on
Mhm.
fasting?
Well, it's a principle, a tool that we've used clinically for a long time. It's obviously on having its zeitgeist moment around, it's for the past couple of years it really has, but I think it hasn't even hit its full crescendo. I think the virus probably shifted that conversation a little bit, but fasting is an amazing tool to actually support a healthy immune system, really. So, what better time than now to actually support the immune system in a powerful way? So, it's a conversation that I had briefly in Ketotarian. I talked about fasting there. I talked it briefly in the inflammation spectrum, but I wanted to have a bigger conversation about how to do it because it's, to me, like when I use the title intuitive fasting, I want people to get to a place of intuitive eating, but it's really hard to do that when there's a lot of imbalance going on. And I think, you can just look outside globally and see that there's a lack of balance going on in the body, going on globally, and we are a part of that nature. I hate to get too. I mean, you like talking about this spiritual stuff too. So, I mean, there is an intrinsic balance. It's like sewn into our universe. Like the cosmos is quilted with this duality that's there that humans would have co-evolved with for a long time, but now more than ever we think so divorced from nature that we've lost touch with that sort of primal thing that's encoded in our DNA. So it's, to me, I want people to actually know the still small voice of their intuition, but it's really hard to do that when they're in a state of internal imbalance. Like there's climate change going on globally. I think we've talked about this before. There's also that internal climate change going on in the form of chronic inflammation. So that is really why I called the book Intuitive Fasting, because it's hard to discern what is intuition and what is imbalance. Like, is it intuition or is it hangriness? Is it intuition or hormone imbalance? Is it intuition or insatiable cravings? Like craving that donut and being a slave to those insatiable cravings is not intuitive eating or intuitive fasting or intuitive just being. So I really wanted people to lean into this book as using this amazing tool of flexible intermittent fasting to gain metabolic flexibility.
Mhm.
So at that point, metabolic flexibility allows your body to have proper signaling pathways to actually hear what your body loves and what your body hates. So it's just a deeper conversation about that and how to, it's almost like a proverbial yoga class for your metabolism, where we're starting with lighter fast, leading into deeper fast, and then back out. So just like at the end of that yoga class, you have that shavasana and you're laying down and relaxing. That's what I want people to have for their metabolism, where they actually have a good workout, so to speak, a good stretching and contracting of the metabolism to gain that flexibility. So it's definitely not your typical intermittent fasting conversation, because it's actually quite a deeper spiritual uh, learning about yourself that we're using the tool of fasting to do that.
I love that. When I first heard what the title of the book was going to be, I got really excited because, intermittent fasting has obviously gained, a tremendous amount of attention and popularity. And there's all of this really cool research that's come out about it that we're all kind of, staying up to date with. And what I've been saying about fasting for a long time, it's one of those like, hey, like it's an amazing tool, but there's no magic rules to it of like, oh, 16-8 or however it is. And of course, where a lot of, dieters and standard American Gen Pop people kind of go wrong is trying to force things a lot, and that's where it gets into that vicious cycle. And so I loved that because I had never even really thought to use the word intuitive, but I've always tried to communicate to clients of like, well, you have to listen to your biofeedback. We have to,
Mhm,
kind of resync back up with that innate wisdom that your body
mhm.
has. And no
Yeah.
clinician can do that for you. They can help
Mhm,
teach you how to cultivate that intuition and
mhm,
that synchronicity, if you will. So I love that. And so I let's start